Godzilla Final Wars.
Godzilla Final Wars is not only the final movie of the Godzilla Millennium series, but also the final live-action Godzilla film that Toho would release for 12 years. To accurately describe Godzilla Final Wars is basically sort of kind of a remake of Destroy All Monsters. You got pretty much every kaiju that Toho has come up with, at least the ones that have even some levels of popularity, attacking every human city, and it's up to Godzilla to take them all down. The director of this movie went on record saying that he was not a big fan of what basically he didn't like the Godzilla films of the 80s and the 90s. So basically all of Heisei and all of Millennium. He wanted to bring it back to a time where Godzilla movies had a message, which means he basically wanted to make a big budget Showa Godzilla movie. Thankfully, it's not one of the bad ones. This is a movie that, from what I have read, was basically meant to see like our planet is dying and these monsters are here for a reason because of our inactivity to stop something. But instead, it comes across as a massive monster brawl. And when the movie leans into that latter statement, it's epic. If you can think of a kaiju, it is in this movie. Rodan's in here. The American Godzilla is in here, and he gets completely punked out by the Japanese Godzilla, and that's a great scene right there. King Caesar returns. Basically, if you can think it, it's in this movie. Not only are there a ton of monsters, but there are aliens in this movie too. Basically an updated version of the Exilians, the aliens from Planet X from Invasion of the Astro Monster. There's even a pretty sick scene where one of the Earth's commanders shoots one of them in the chest, one of the Exilians, and in his final form, you see his head split open to reveal the true form of one of the Exilians. It's great stuff. One of the human soldiers is played by Don the Predator Fry. If that name does not sound familiar to you, to make a long story short, he was an early pioneer of early MMA. And there's a good chance you've seen this fight. He had a pretty epic fight with a gentleman named Yoshihiro Takayama. Here's a clip.
We're talking, we're teasing him about the...
Don Fry and his epic mustache are in this movie, and yes, they are as epic as you think they are. This basically feels like Toho were going to retire Godzilla for real this time, and so they just decided, let's just show everyone, let's show everyone off, and that's why the movie kind of works. It's just a blast. It doesn't try to be beyond anything than that. I'm sure there were aspirations for it, but at the end of the day, the movie just kind of comes across as a monster mash and a graveyard smash, and it was epic. Hell, the ending of the movie sees Godzilla have one more row with King Ghidorah, who was billed as Monster X, but in a twist, it was King Ghidorah, and the two have one last fight. Now, of course, Toho would go back to the Godzilla well one more time with Shin Godzilla in 2016 and Godzilla Minus One, which, by the way, congratulations, Godzilla Minus One, for winning Best Visual Effects at the Oscars last night. Very well deserved. And with that in mind, I'm going to give this movie a good rating, but a very high good rating. This was a ton of fun, and this was about as good a capper to the Millennium series as you could ask for. This is the weirdest chunk of Godzilla movies for me, because by the end of the Showa era, you're like, okay, these are silly, cheesy, and over the top, but at least they're kind of like understanding of what they're trying to be. The Heisei movies are just plain epic. But the Millennium ones, it just seemed like Toho had a plan of, okay, we're going to show TriStar how to make a Godzilla movie. And then they were like, well, we have him here. We might as well squeeze a couple more movies out of him. Easily the most inconsistent in terms of continuity, because every movie in the Millennium series retconned itself. So there was no continuity, or it was loose at the very best. And it's a little weird, but there were some inspired moments. Now that I've made it to the end of the Godzilla canon and I'm about to step into the modern times, I'll definitely say out of the eras, Heisei is by far and away my favorite and the best one, followed by Showa and then Millennium. Though I don't outright hate any of those eras. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of Godzilla Final Wars? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. And stay tuned for Wednesday, where after what seems like forever, I'll be tackling yet another King Kong movie. This time, King Kong 2005 from Peter Jackson. And I will be joined by 1/3 of Small Talk, Jacob Collins from 3D Movie Cinema. So stay tuned for that.